seen the video before this one, you know that I had met a lot of people on a vacation that we just got back from, and they were all wanting me to make a video on my truck. I had made one, I don't know, it's been whatever, 3 months ago or something, 2 months ago, something like that. A little short video. But I told them when I got home I'd make another one. So that was a little walk around. We'll crank it up here in a second and listen to it run. Basically it's a 56 Chevrolet 3100. It was a one-owner truck. The older gentleman I bought it from in Atlanta, bought it new and drove it. He burnt it had a straight six in it to start with. He burned it up and put a little 283 3-speed manual in it, and it started knocking real bad. So instead of fixing it, he just parked it in the barn in 1980, and that's where it's set. And it's a 383 stroker. It's a Vortec motor, roller motor, roller rockers, roller cam. Got a decent size cam. Sounds like it's got more cam in it than what it actually does, but good running little motor. It's got standard conventional heads on the 882 heads, nothing really special. About 390 or so horsepower. Aluminum water pump, steel crank. It's got a Street Demon carburetor, aluminum radiator. It's got an electric fan here, and then inside behind the grill right here you can see the blue dot, I think. That's another electric fan. It's got an electric fan for the transmission that helps cool the transmission fluid with a transmission fluid cooler. 700 R4 out of a 2000 Camaro RS. The engine is a 96 to 2001 Vortec. What else has been done? It's got odometer gauges. The factory steering wheel, I just went through and repaired all the cracks. You know, it has real bad cracks that show up here and back here and in here, and just sort of sanded it down, primed it, and refinished it. Factory steering column. It has the factory straight axle still in the truck. The truck has been lowered a total of 9 inches in the front and 8 inches in the back. It's got 4-wheel disc brakes, drilled and slotted. All factory sheet metal except this fender. This fender was hit pretty hard right here. Shoved this fender back just a little bit, not a whole lot, but just a little. But it creased it really bad up through here, and bowed it out real bad right here. And it was a lot more cost effective, and as far as time and everything, to just replace that fender. The front bed panel is new, and the tailgate is new. Obviously it was used as a truck, and they were really beat real bad. The cab corners in and out have been replaced. Factory rockers. I've done all the upholstery myself except the seat. I had a friend of mine named Carlos redo the seat for me. It's ostrich, diamond pleated, and then of course the leather. The wood is a oak with custom mix stain and then epoxy to give it that shine. The wheels are Boss wheels. I mentioned the four-wheel disc brakes. The front and back bumpers are all replaced. Triple chrome plated. The lights I'll show you here in a little while are LED, except the marker lights. They're a replacement, direct replacement, but they look like factory. Tailgates or tail lights the same way. The grill is replaced. The grill that was in it was pretty beat up, and it was gonna cost an absolute fortune to have that grill fixed. It was a painted grill, so I'd have to have it chromed, and you know that by itself for that grill's over $1,000 to have it re-chromed. So I replaced it. Stainless panels to go in the inserts of the firewall. Stainless headers. It has a fluid dampener, all aluminum pulleys, 8-rib serpentine belt, all AN fittings from front to back. Every line is AN fittings. I have the oil filter oil filter relocation on it. The truck sets so low it's hard to get a floor jack under it to change the oil. So I relocated it up on the firewall with some 12 AN fittings, fuel regulator by AER. It's got 2.5-inch exhaust with X pipe. It's got single chamber flow masters. They're run the length of the truck, so I have them coming out back here behind the rear tire. Got a pretty good sound, so we'll crank it up, and it's been quite a while since I've cranked it, so might take a second. No, it fired right up. Well, there you go, guys. That's a little video on the rundown on the old 56. Had a lot of fun building it. A whole lot of fun. Let me shut it off. Shut it off so you can hear me. Had a lot of fun building it. It was 100% frame off. Every nut and bolt in it's been replaced or sandblasted and cleaned. The frame was sandblasted. Probably won't be able to see it. Let me flip a light on under here. That might help a little. You can't really tell. The frame is a charcoal metallic. Sandblasted the frame. I mentioned it's got the factory straight axle up under it, which I really like to see. A lot of people are going to independent front suspension, but I wanted to see if I could get it lowered where I wanted it and keep the factory front straight axle under it. This guy right here, close the door so you can, well, that made it worse. This guy right here, Nostalgia Sid, out in Oklahoma, basically what he done was he took my factory straight axle and put it in a jig, heated it up, dropped it 3 inches and narrowed it a 1/2 inch on each side, and had to do a lot of math and measuring and to figure out what I needed. With one of the things you deal with a straight axle is ground clearance. So if you lower it too much, you just, you're just inches away from the ground. So you run into a lot of trouble if you lower it too much. But like I said, that's just a rundown on the truck. I pulled the truck in. It's a funny story. I pulled the truck in on a trailer. It took me and 2 of my friends 8 hours to get this truck out of a garage, out of a barn rather, and about 70 feet down a steep driveway. All the brakes were locked up. Just in, it's in really rough shape. Took us 8 hours to get it on a trailer, and we got it home, and the next day completely disassembled the entire truck down to the frame in about 12 hours on the trailer. We couldn't get it off the trailer as a whole truck. So what we did was we disassembled everything we could, which anybody who knows anything about these old trucks, old Chevrolets, anyway, a pair of channel locks, a 9/16 and a 1/2 inch, and you can take these things entirely apart. About 12 hours, we had it as far down as we could, and I hired a wrecker to come out here with a boom truck, and we picked the cab up off the frame, set it down in the corner of the driveway right here where her car is sitting, and then grabbed the frame and put it on those sawhorses that are sitting out there, out a little past where my F-150 is sitting, and got to work on it. And like I said, sandblasted everything, and took me right at 1 year and 7 months, from March of 2016 till I think right around October of 2017 to get it done, and that was absolute nonstop. Every weekend and whatever hours I could fit in between work was out here on this truck. It turned out really, really good. The color is actually a Ford color, UH. You can see. Well, can you see? I don't know if you can or not. The sun is not hitting it. It's got paint code is UH, called Tuxedo Black. It's a lot of pearl and metal flake. It's 56 grams of pearl per quart. It took right at, I want to say it took right at 1.25 gallons of base coat. Base coat mixes 1-to-1, so that's 2.5 gallons of paint to do it. And I used one of my favorite clear coats to spray is SPI, Southern Polyurethane, and a really, really beautiful clear coat. Gives a real deep gloss. But yeah, I mean, that's, I used all button head polished. I bought some button head polished bolts, or they weren't polished. I had to polish them. But all the fenders and front end are held together with polished bolts. This is all factory, believe it or not. Wasn't too beat up. This is a new piece where it got hit right here. If I'm not mistaken, I think he said it popped out of gear and rolled into the corner of his house is actually what it hit. It wasn't in a wreck. That was one of the bad things about these straight shift trucks. It was originally a straight shift truck. It was, I mentioned earlier, it was a inline 6, 231, I believe is what it was. And with the 3-speed, and they were really bad about if you parked them on too much of a slope, nose pointing down, they were really bad about popping out of gear and just take off rolling. And that's what happened. But guys, I appreciate you watching the video. There's the video for those I told I would do it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit your notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I put a new video out. Like I said, I appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for more videos. I've got some projects coming up in the future that you'll be interested in. And again, thanks a lot for watching.